shattered to unbreakable. Listen here, sweet sister. Whether you think you have one little crack or you are shattered into a billion pieces, this podcast is going to give you the resources, tools, and skills to help piece yourself back together to form a beautiful, unique, solid, and unbreakable masterpiece. You are listening to Shattered to Unbreakable, the Reclaim Podcast. Let's talk. Hello, welcome to another episode of Shattered to Unbreakable. I'm Brandi, and I'm bringing you another Thursday morning short. I have a funny story. It kind of wasn't funny at the time, but aren't those the funniest stories? I, for the first time ever, decided to go pray at the Planned Parenthood, and I'll do a little bit of explanation. Again, might be controversial. I must be going down this road lately, controversial road. So I'm obviously pro-life. I would rather people not get an abortion, but I'm not judging you either way. I'm just saying my preference. I believe life is beautiful and precious, and I'm sure I love listening to people's experiences when it comes to abortion. And if you are good with your decision, I will not judge you. That is your decision. There are lots of reasons people do it, and I'm not saying any of them are wrong. I'm just saying I prefer to let the child live. That's all I'm saying. It's a soul that was built for a purpose, and I believe it has the right to live out its purpose, whether it's with you or another family. But that's just my stance on it, and you don't have to agree with me. Promise. It will not wreck our friendship. But the reason I'm saying this is to say that I was praying at Planned Parenthood. Now, we're not there to intimidate people, and we're not there to shun people or shame people or make them feel guilty for going. We're only there to offer resources and prayer and comfort. So if somebody is having, mixed thoughts, or they don't know if they want to do that, or, they just need more information, we have pamphlets about the resources in the community to help people go ahead and have the baby, and financial resources, childcare resources, career resources, mental health resources, all kinds. And so we just want to offer that and pray with people and inspire them to make a choice that aligns with them. So that's my purpose for being at Planned Parenthood. So usually, you guys know, I'm all Christianed up, and I like to talk about God, and I like to talk about my faith, and I find blessings in living my faith in certain ways, and I love it. It's the milestone or cornerstone or foundation stone, I don't know what I'm trying to say, of my life. And so I am pretty comfortable in my environment talking about God. Most of the people I hang out with, they believe in God. They love God too. So it's not a big deal. The people who don't aren't real crazy about yelling at me, so I don't really have to worry about it. I can talk about it on my podcast and no one screams in my face. I can put it on my blogs. I can put it on my Facebook or my Instagram. And I really haven't gotten a lot of feedback or backlash. I'm really having a hard time with words today. As my sister would say, words aren't wording today. Or maybe that's Aubrey. Or maybe they both say that. Anyways, I had a different experience at Planned Parenthood outside of my little bubble of life. When you publicly pray in a place where not everybody believes the way you believe, that was different. I was not expecting what I got. I went there to peacefully pray to myself. I mean, if you didn't know any better, you just thought I was leaning on this retaining wall, looking at a necklace. Like, that's what it looked like to a bystander. But there was this lady, and she had a sign that said, "Organized religion is a cult." And she was just going up and down the sidewalk, yelling at me. I was just looking down at my rosary, praying silently. And she would get right up in my face and say, "You're in a cult, ma'am. You're in a cult. You need out. Let me know. I've got resources. You're in a cult, ma'am. You're just like all the rest of them." Just every time she walked by me, she would just say that. She would just say that. She would just say that. And so one time she just stopped in front of me. I guess she wasn't getting the reaction she wanted. And so she was just talking at me, all this stuff. And I looked up at her because I didn't want to look at her and I didn't want to be confrontational, but I thought, okay, this is not okay. And my heart started pounding. I started getting like anxiety and like a trauma response building up. And I felt hard to breathe and my chest started to tighten. And so I was like, I think I need to look her in the eye. And so she was wearing sunglasses and so was I. So it was kind of hard to see her eyes, but I looked into her sunglasses and I started praying out loud my rosary, which is basically just, 10 Hail Marys in a row and then the Our Father, Glory Be, and then 10 more Hail Marys. So you do that 5 times and that's called the rosary. And so I just started saying my Hail Marys out loud to her face. And it made her take a step back, which was interesting. And she said, oh, you're just like all the rest of them. You sound just like all the rest of them. Your stupid little chants and da-da-da-da and all this stuff. And I was just like, holy smokes. And so it got to the point where it was really hard to focus on my prayers. And I was losing my place and losing my words. And then there were 2 other gals from my church that were there. And they came up to me and they started saying, oh, she's an evil, she's the devil. And I was actually pretty surprised at the way they were talking about her. And of course, I'm in my own little reclaim world over here thinking, there's probably just a lost little girl in that body who needs some love, right? That's what I'm thinking. And so these girls come over and they're telling me how awful she is. And I said, you know what, guys, she wants a reaction out of us. My advice to you is just to pray. Don't engage in conversation with her. Don't react. Don't tell her she's bad. Because they were talking to her and they were being mean right back. And I'm like, I thought we were Christians. Okay. Like I was watching The Chosen and 2 of the disciples, there were people walking by and they were mocking them and they spit on them. And the disciples were like, what the heck? And they're like, hold me back, Jesus. Like they were going to go whoop some butt because that's blasphemy and that's dishonor and that's disrespectful. And they were right. Like they weren't wrong. But Jesus was like, dudes, you have got to calm down. Like we are not going to change people's minds if we're just going to go off fighting everybody who gets mad at us for what we're doing or disagrees with us. And so anyway, I was thinking about that and these girls, and I was like, let's just pray for her. Let's pray for her. When you say your rosary, say 1 decade for Planned Parenthood and say 1 decade for that lost little girl inside of her who is trapped. She's trapped there by whatever demons she worships, because apparently she worships demons. She made sure to let me know. And so I said, let's just pray for her. And that calmed us all down. And then must not have calmed her down. She didn't like that because then this is really funny, actually. There's so many thoughts going through my head right now that I don't know if I can say out loud. But she kept taunting us. And then we went ahead and found a podcast of a rosary that we could listen to and say it along with him so we didn't lose our place, because she really was just aggressive with us with her words. And so as we were praying those, she brings her phone over to us and puts on the song WAP by Cardi B. I have it on video. I was like, what is she doing? And so she was playing that song real loud, like by our ear while we were trying to pray. I was like, gosh, you're so mean. And so that didn't phase us because we just ignored it. And so then she said, you know what, I'm gonna put some devil conjuring music. We're gonna conjure the devil together. And she put it right beside me on the retaining wall. And I look at it, at her phone, and she's like, don't you dare touch my property. So we moved down the retaining wall a little ways. And so she brought her phone right back over to me. I was like, oh my God, we're playing this game. And so then I got my phone and I put on In Jesus' Name and I set it right by her phone. And she goes, oh, you need praise because your God isn't strong enough. Your God isn't strong enough for. And then I was again praying the rosary out loud. And she said, I said that prayer last night while I was getting by my husband. And I was just like, Lord have mercy. And I just kind of giggled and was like, oh, I bet that was nice. I didn't know what else to say. Anyways, I tell you the story to tell you the point that, holy cow, living your faith publicly is harder than living your faith privately in your own little house, in your own little world, in your own little family, in your own little church, in your own little friend circle. I'm talking about living your faith maybe at work, living your faith praying publicly or protesting, peacefully protesting for something you believe in. I have a brand new respect for those of you that are brave enough to get out there and peacefully fight for what you believe in and peacefully bring awareness while others are persecuting you heavily. And I just got a tiny, tiny little taste of verbal aggression. I can't imagine what some of you have gone through with physical and legal oppression and aggression. And I just wanted to come on here and say I respect all of you that are living your faith out loud and like peacefully out loud. I know it sounds weird, but in a peaceful way, but living it, and making sure that we don't let those that are trying to prove us to be animals or prove us to be childish or weak affect us. So yeah, this is my little short to say thank you to those of you who are doing that, and to those of you who might be scared to live your faith out loud. Yeah, I agree. It's not easy. But in coinciding with our podcast Tuesday, just be aware of those little moments to be extraordinary, to live your faith extraordinarily, and to be that hero in waiting for your cause or for your faith or for Jesus or whatever it is you're fighting for. So I love you. Strength, courage, confidence, and love with you right now. It was not fun and not easy. So yeah, let's keep fighting the good fight together, y'all. Put on the armor of God. Be a little hero in waiting. I'll see you next week. Stay sparkly. Thanks for listening, you guys. I wanted to let you know our website has changed. Our new website is called thereclaimstrategy.com. I think it is so fitting. We also have a whole university full of free courses and downloads. So please go check that out. It's called the Reclaim University or Reclaim You. I thought of it all by myself. So proud. And so hop on there and download some resources. Also, I would love for you to share this podcast. The more women we can get in front of, the more women we can save, and the more children we can affect. I love you guys. Stay sparkly. I'll see you next week.